Hi all, this is Once and Future Gamer and welcome to another Pokemon Challenge, the first of 2025. Last time, re-rounded out 2024 with a Gen 5 challenge as I sought to see if I could beat Pokemon Black with a single Pikachu. Today though, re-return to Gen 1 as it has been quite a while and answer the question of if I can beat Pokemon Yellow with a single Zubat. Right then, Zubat, here's the thing, we're pretty weak. In Gen 1, where the special stat is combined, we have a 215 base stat total. That is the 6th worst in the entire game. We're only beaten by Caterpie, Weedle, their immediate evolutions and Magikarp. Our speed is decent and that could be key in Gen 1. Our attack is okay, but things slowly degrade from there. We are poison and flying type, so weak to rock, electric, psychic and ice. Immune to ground, resistant to fighting, poison and grass. In Gen 1, poison doesn't resist bug. Our Gen 1 moveset is pretty horrible. About the best move we get via level up is Bite. Wing attack is only 35 base power in this game. Leech life is still 20 base power. But I guess wing attack is about our best option for Ghost, since it does at least give us stab. We may get some mileage out of Confuse Ray. Via TM, we don't even get that much that improves on what we have. About the only coverage we do get is Mega Drain, and even then, that's not going to be fantastic. Mind you, our special stat is only 5 points lower than our regular attack stat, so it isn't going to debilitate us too much. Maybe I could get some use out of Mimic. Not a user suggestion, but I really wanted to do a Gen 1 challenge to kick off the year. Haven't done one in the best part of 10-11 months. As always folks, the rules are on the screen throughout, and if you do enjoy what you see, then like, subscribe and ring that bell. Let's get this on. I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Pikachu with Zubat, so that I can do the whole run with it. I chose to replace Pikachu because it's quite literally the only option for us to do so. I nicknamed the Zubat Bruce. I'm pretty sure you may be able to guess the reason why. And then we have our first rival fight, and this goes so badly it's not even funny. We get tail whipped a few times, our Leech Life doesn't really do much damage, and we can get 2 hits in pretty short order. It's a brutal combination of us being so much weaker than Eevee and Leech Life just being a bad move in this generation. Anyway, after the fight I head off to train up, but even this is slow because roughly half the encounters are Pidgeys. I'd have to check the maths on that actually. You'd think that because there's only 2 encounters on this route, it'd be an even split, but I can't help feel like we are getting more Pidgeys than Rattata. Just an observation. Anyway, I digress. The thing is, we've got to attack Rattatas for a while. Pidgey will resist our Leech Life, so very difficult. We don't get another attacking move for a while, so this is the way it's got to be. There's even a point where as we get stronger, I finally resort to using Struggle instead, but once we get Supersonic, I've got to burn those PPs as well, so all in all, it's a frequent thing to take trips back to the Pokemon Center. I'll need Bite for sure before I go and face Brock. I eventually re-challenge the rival on Route 22 and we are level 15 for this, and we do have Bite. This is the best move we will get for a good long while, and so we face off with Rod and his Spearow. This is a pretty swift battle as we land a Bite. Spearow retaliates with a growl and we finish that off with another Bite. Then it's Eevee. We land a Bite because we are faster and do good damage before getting hit with Tackle, and then we bite it down again for a win. Right then, with that out of the way, it's time to go and tackle Brock. This will be an obstacle, all our attacks will be resisted, but at least we have a way to counter Bide with Onix. Supersonic may play a part here. Versus Geodude, we go for a Supersonic straight away, and it actually lands. We then start hitting bites, and we do decent damage for sure, even getting a crit in. Geodude does hurt itself in Confusion a few times, and although there are a few tackles landed, we can soon take it down with Leech Life to recover a bit of health. So, we have lost maybe a quarter of our HP going into Onix. It's soon time for Supersonic again, and it goes into Bide. While it's biding its time, we just keep spamming Supersonic to avoid damage, because the great thing is that it does hit itself in Confusion, Bide is just immediately cancelled, and so that's fantastic. We keep the Confusion up even when Onix shakes it off. We then land Bites and Leech Life, but Onix can't really hurt us, so that works too, and we soon do bring it down and can move on. That wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be. We're on the road then. We've got Mount Moon ahead and then a choice between the Water Gym and the rival fight in Cerulean City. Neither of which will probably be particularly easy, so we'll have to do what we can. Misty Starmie is going to be a bit of an obstacle, so the rival will probably actually be more doable. I don't think he's as hard at this point of the game in Yellow as he is in Red and Blue. Spearow and Sandshrew are easier to deal with than Pidgeotto, I'd say. Just a personal thought, I mean, those two do the same things, but not at the same time. We head into Mount Moon and do some exploration. I can't complain about Zubats as I'm going through here because, after all, Zubat is something I'm going to be seeing for quite a lot of this run. If it was going to upset me seeing a Zubat, this is the wrong run to be doing. Before long, we get the choice of a fossil, and we've got to make that choice before we have a Team Rocket fight. And I do like this about Yellow, that the game is slightly different, that you get attacked by Jesse and James to try and get that fossil back from you. They do have poison types though, and Leech Life is super effective against poison in this game. Gotta love those Gen 1 mechanics. Into Cerulean City then, after we sent Team Rocket blasting off, and I make my choice that I am going to head after the rival first, get some more levels ahead of Misty. This seems a good thing to do. We crit bite on Spearow and one hit it. Nice. Sandshrew is a free hit with bite, but thankfully we don't get hit with a sand attack as it only goes to scratches on us. Sand attack might have been a problem. Rattata is a 2 hit with bite, hitting a tackle in exchange. Eevee hits a tackle and a tail whip, but we can soon free hit that with bite and bring it down. Thankfully the fight didn't go on too much longer. I go make a try on Misty just to see how we fare at level 24, and I figure we may have a chance. We do have a super effective move versus Starmie, albeit a weak non-stab one, but we are very quickly outsped by Staryu and hit with tackle. She misses a second tackle and goes for an X-Defend, but 3 bites are enough to bring the Staryu down very quickly, and now we have to face off with Starmie. It outspeeds and hits tackle while we go for Confuse Ray. We start hitting Leech Lives, but an X-Defend puts paid to that. Over the course of the fight, thanks to Starmie hitting itself in confusion and our Leech Life attacks, we do actually get it down to red health, but the problem comes when she starts going for Bubble Beam, as that absolutely wrecks our health, and it isn't too long before we go crashing down in defeat. I head up Nugget Bridge and decide to do some training. If we are struggling with the Water Gym, the Electric Gym will probably be definitely a bridge too far, and that's something we're going to have to deal with. More levels will help overcome our deficiency in power. I definitely think there'll be a point at the back end of the game when we will need to be massively over leveled. I think it could well be the Psychic Gym that's going to be rough. Maybe the last Giovanni fight might be problematic since his Nidos have electric attacks. I face Misty again at level 27 and I'm optimistic that we might do better this time. We are faster than Staryu this time and we can land a bite, promptly getting the flinch, which is handy. Our bite does over half, so a second one brings it down. I go for Confuse Ray versus Starmie, but it is still faster and hits Water Gun and Bubble Beam attacks, and we only manage to get it down to about a third of its health by the time we go crashing down in defeat. Another X-Defend means our Leech Life doesn't really hurt it, and worse, those water attacks still really hurt us, so we lose. I make a third try on her, this time at level 31, and hopefully with a full 10 levels more than Starmie, we might be pretty good to go. Staryu does hit a tackle, but 2 bites are enough to bring that down for the count. I think it's safe to say Staryu has never been the issue here. Starmie is still faster and hits Water Gun while we confuse it. We take an absolute shoeing from Starmie, getting hit with Water Guns and Bubble Beams that lower our health, but we do manage to crit a Leech Life. When we are both in knockout range, she chooses to use an X-Defend rather than taking us down, and we land the finishing blow for a knockout and the second badge. Onto the SSM then, and it isn't long before we will have another rival fight, but I'm getting trained up. This is all the trainers here since we do have the Electric Gym ahead and Surge's Raichu is pretty strong in this game. One Thunderbolt could be all she wrote on us and that might be problematic. Well, I suppose the thing is, I don't have to beat Surge just yet if I can't or don't want to, we'll see. Anyway, rival fight ahead, and he's not that much stronger, at least, than he is in Cerulean City, so we should be able to get past him pretty easily. I'm not worried about him at all. He begins with Spearow, and we one-shot it straight away with Bite, so that really wasn't much to be worried about. Rattata is second, and another Bite crits it to bring it down in one hit, before we then face Sandshrew. It survives Bite and hits Scratch, but another Bite brings it down for the count. Eevee survives Bite, but only goes to Tail Whip, and we take it down with a second Bite. Let's make a try on Surge then and see how this goes. Could be bad, but we shall see. We are level 36, and it actually goes better than it has any right to, because he never goes for an electric attack, which is pretty handy. He goes for Mega Punch and then fails Growl, all while we are hitting Bites for about a third of his health each time. He then goes for an X speed right at the end, and a third Bite brings it down for the count. That was way easier than it had any right to be. A victory over the Gen 1 AI, I guess. Shall we do Zubat trivia then as we make our way through the rock tunnel? A lot of Pokédex entries mention about how they use ultrasonic waves to find their way around, since they have no eyes. I maintain that since they don't have eyes, they shouldn't be able to have their accuracy lowered, but I digress. A few Pokédex entries mention how they suffer burns if they endure prolonged exposure to the sun due to the thinness of their skin. The Ultra Moon Pokédex entry mentions how, when it is cold, they gather together to warm each other's bodies. Zubat and Golbat are the only Pokemon introduced in Gen 1 to currently have a unique type combination, since no other Pokemon are Poison and Flying type outside of this evolutionary line. The Zubat line shares their category with Woobat, as they are all known as the Bat Pokemon. Zubat and Woobat both have no visible eyes until they evolve. They reach their final, fully evolved forms via friendship, and even share shiny colourings. Zubat also shares some similarities with Noibat, as they are both based on bats, both flying type Pokemon, both can have Infiltrator as an ability, and both share the same base stats, albeit with their attack and special attack switched around. Zubat shares having the lowest base special attack stat of all flying Pokemon with Tailo, Starly, Combi and Pikipek. Zubat has no eyes but is capable of learning Mean Look. It is the only alpha Pokemon in Legends Arceus who does not have glowing red eyes, and it is also one of the few Shadow Pokemon in Pokemon Go that doesn't have red eyes along with Shadow Steelix. It appears to be based on a vampire bat. Anyway, Lavender Town rival fight. It's time to get on with this, and in this fight, he begins with Fearow. We hit a few bites, 3 of them to be precise, but Fearow spams Growl, which could be a bit of a problem for the rest of the fight. Vulpix is second. It hits Quick Attack and Tail Whip, but we take it out with 2 bites and a Wing Attack. See my damage problem thanks to Growl. We 2-hit Magnemite with Bite thanks to the second one being a crit, only taking a tackle in exchange. Sandshrew goes down to a crit bite, and in the final round of the fight, so does Eevee, which is very handy indeed. I travel towards Celadon City next, and there's a choice between the fight with Erica and the fight with Giovanni. I make the choice to go after Erica first, since she gives out the Mega Drain TM. I want Zubat to learn this. It does use our special stat rather than our attack stat, but we've had so many issues with trying to chip damage down rock types that it will make Giovanni easy. She begins with Tangela, who we hit a wing attack on, critting it before taking it out with Leech Life. She only lands a Constrict in exchange. Weeping Bell goes down to a crit wing attack before Gloom is out last. It survives wing attack and hits Petal Dance before we strike a finishing blow with Leech Life. And with that out of the way, we can head over to conduct our battle with Giovanni, and he begins with Onyx, who goes down to a crit Mega Drain. Rhyhorn also goes down to Mega Drain. See what I mean about it making this fight easier? Persian is a 2-hit with Bite, only hitting Payday in retaliation. Travelling through Pokemon Tower, I find myself thinking to what's ahead. I don't think either of the next 2 gyms will be particularly pleasant, since we'll have the Psychic Gym, and Sabrina has the potential to be brutal in Yellow, and the Poison Gym isn't going to be entirely fun either, since Koga's Venonat line all have Psychic moves too, I believe. So, we might be taking a bit of a beating, particularly if we can't one-hit his Pokemon. and the level curve is brutal from the 4th gym to the 5th and the 6th in Yellow 2. Their races are both level 50, that's a full 7 levels higher than in Red and Blue. It's debatable if Venomoth is a better race than Weezing, but that's not the discussion here. Mind you, in Gen 1 there's always that chance Koga blows his Weezing up at less than optimal times. I choose to head south to Fuchsia City, fighting all the trainers on the way. Hey, what do you think a Psychic Attack from Sabrina's level 50 Alakazam with Gen 1 crit mechanics will do to us if we are too weak? I will try Koga first. If we can't beat Koga, I'll go clear Sylph out and deal with the rival, or try to anyway. One of them will have to go down sooner or later. Beating Koga would give us early access to Cinnabar Island, but I wouldn't say Blaine would be particularly easy either. Again, I know the Gen 1 AI is screwy, but I can't rely on that. Anyway, I do eventually make a crack at Koga after going wandering in the Safari Zone. I feel reasonably confident we can give a good account of ourselves at level 58. We hit the first Venonat with 2 wing attacks to bring it down, but lose a chunk of our health in the process, and don't forget, no held items in this gen. The second Venonat is also a 2-hit with wing attack, but clatters us with a Psybe, which isn't nice. We've lost nearly half our health. Third Venonat goes down to a crit wing attack, but Venomoth outspeeds us and just takes us out with Psychic. So, more levels then? I head to Sylph then to go and take out Team Rocket. I always think it is worth fighting every Rocket Grunt here because there's no option to come back later and fight them once Giovanni has been forcibly ejected from the building. But let us talk about what's ongoing with the channel. I'm writing this in mid-December and you're seeing this in January if everything has gone to plan. I know I just started uploading my playthrough of Eternal Darkness since I finished Resident Evil 6. I know I had finished making the Pokemon White with Poison types video and I'd started working through the backlog of Pokemon Master Showdown. The next Pokemon challenge I am going to do was originally going to be the final one of 2024, but I had a different idea. But anyway, next is going to be that Emerald with Tropius challenge. Not expecting it to be too bad, but we shall see, I guess. I guess there may be potential for me to be surprised. As always, if you have any ideas for future challenges, head to the comment section down below or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord. Moving on. Rival fight then, and it's time for what is usually a pretty hard battle. It's the point where he starts to use fully evolved Pokemon for one thing. He begins with Sandslash, but we land a crit Mega Drain to down it in one hit, which pretty handy. Magneton takes about half its health in damage from Bite, but we get hit with a crit Thundershock for nearly half our health. Another Bite takes it out. Ninetales is a 2-hit with Bite, only using a Roar on us in exchange, which does nothing under Gen 1 mechanics. Kadabra goes down to a single Bite. Our first Mega Drain doesn't do a lot to Vaporeon, and the Aurora Beams we get hit with lower our attack. Thankfully though, we crit the next 2 Mega Drains to bring the Vaporeon down for the count and we can take the win. The Silph Giovanni fight is up next then, and this usually isn't ever too bad, but we shall see, I guess. He begins with Nidorino and we start by hitting a Bite, which it survives before going for Fury attack. We take it out with another Bite. Persian survives Bite and hits Payday before we take it out with another Bite. Mega Drain brings Rhyhorn down and Nidoqueen is last. Our Mega Drain doesn't do much damage to her, so we switch to starting to hit Bite attacks. We do get hit with some attacks from her, but ultimately we can bring her down for the count and give ourselves the win. At level 65 I make a try on Sabrina and it goes badly. We can bring Abra down with a single Bite, but we get outsped by Kadabra and lose pretty much all our health to a Psychic attack. We do get the chance to hit a Bite, but we don't even take it out with that move and are brought down very quickly. I go back to Fuchsia City and make a try on Koga again. I hope we can get over on him this time. We can only 2-hit the first Venonat, his weakest Pokemon, with wing attack, and we get hit with Psychic for a chunk of our health. The second Venonat is also a 2-hit with wing attack, and we get dropped into yellow health by a Psybeam. The third Venonat is a 2-hit with wing attack, and we get knocked onto red health by a Psychic, which means I'm pretty confident we're not going to win this as we go into Venomoth. However, the Gen 1 AI comes up trumps again, and when we do 2/3 of Venomoth's health with wing attack, Koga uses an X attack and we can take it out with another wing attack. Okay, I guess the game wants me to win by default. I make a few more tries on Sabrina at level 70 and I eventually get one that looks like this. One went badly due to Kinesis, but on the winning run we down Abra with Bite before facing Kadabra. We land a pair of bites and she only goes for an X defend, and we can quickly take the Kadabra down with our moves. Alakazam we outspeed and hit Bite, but she only goes to Psy Wave rather than the Psychic attack that would have messed us up, and we can strike Alakazam down with our tiny teeth for a win. I feel like that's the 3rd out of 6 gym badges I've won now because the gym leader decided to throw in the towel. I head off to Cinnabar Island and do some exploring of the Pokemon Mansion so that I can access Blaine. I made the comment somewhere before that I don't think Blaine will be particularly easy. I don't see any reason to change that. I think we are probably limited somewhat by our special stats here. We are going to get hurt pretty badly by fire attacks. Even when we get past Blaine, I don't think things will get better because Giovanni is liable to be pretty nasty. He has the 2 Nidos that are going to be tricky because there is no way we're one-shotting them, and they both have Thunder, which will F us up if we get hit with it. Then there's a rival fight after that before we hit the Elite Four. I also decided to check YouTube and see if anyone has done Pokémon Yellow with Zubat before. Scott's Thoughts has. There's also one I found from a YouTuber named M. Tiberius from about a year ago. There's plenty of red and blue runs with this Pokemon though, including Mah-Dry-Bread, J-Rose, Sylph Spectre being the most notable. Anyway, Blaine, and this is just horrific as I predicted. I take quite a lot of losses. There are points where we can make it through Ninetales and Rapidash, but by the time we make it through, we are that weakened from their assault that we can just simply be finished off by Arcanine, which is a bit of a beast. There are Tail Whips and Growls to contend with, and these cause their own problems since we will get hit harder and we won't hit as hard in retaliation. Ninetales also has Confuse Ray, which has potential to be problematic, plus there is that risk of being burned, which means our bite will do even less damage. So I make half a dozen attempts and then retreat to try and garner a few more levels. At level 74 I return and eventually I get a run that goes something just like this, and it is indeed a welcome sight. So versus Ninetales then, we flinch it with Bite in the very first turn, which is nice, and it turns out to be a 3-hit knockout. Unfortunately, in the turn where Ninetales could attack, we got hit with Tail Whip. Versus Rapidash, we strike a Bite for about half its health while it misses Fire Spin. Unfortunately, we get a low damage roll on the second Bite, and this time we get hit with a Fire Spin, and somehow Blaine uses a Super Potion in the middle of it. Gen 1 mechanics again. When the Fire Spin fades, we drop Rapidash with a Bite to take it down. We go defensive versus Arcanine and confuse it with our Confuse Ray. We get hit with a Flamethrower and a Takedown to leave us weak, but we can hit plenty of bites, and also it hits itself in Confusion, which is handy, and this is something that wears its health bar down enough that we can drop it with a final bite to give us the win and 7 badges. In Viridian City, we have the fight with Giovanni, and it's one of the final gates before the end of the game. I think some of his team will be easy, but as I said before, I know what I need to watch out for. We don't have a great answer for Nidoking and Nidoqueen. Dugtrio is first, we hit Mega Drain and Wing Attack to bring it down, all while it makes the brave decision to completely fail with Earthquake versus a Flying type. Yep. Persian is second, we land 2 bites while Giovanni uses a Guard Spec and then lands a Crit Slash on us for about a third of our health. We take Persian down with Wing Attack. Nidoqueen is third, and this is ridiculous. It has to be seen to be believed. We go on the bite offensive. Now, I said this would be trouble. It takes 4 bites to bring Nidoqueen down, during which time she misses Thunder 3 times in a row. I know the move is inaccurate, but wow! Nidoking is a 3-hit with Bite, Giovanni uses a Guard Spec, and then Nidoking misses Thunder on us too, so wow! Rhydon is easy, we hit Mega Drain to bring it down and give us the win. There is the rival fight on Route 22 ahead, and I go into this reasonably confident we can get something out of this. Well, I'll have to if I want to progress. Sandslash is out first and we take it down with 2 Mega Drains, though we do get hit with a crit slash. At least we do recover some health with the second Mega Drain. Execute survives a wing attack on a Sliver and then hits Stun Spore to paralyse us. It then begins to charge up Solar Beam, but we drop it with a second wing attack. We face Magneton third and we never get fully paralysed during the fight, but we do get hit with 2 Thunder Shocks that put us on about a third of our health, even as we take it out with 2 bites. Ninetales hits 2 Tail Whips on us, but again, no paralysis and we can take it down with 2 bites. Kadabra is next and I figure we're doomed. It hits Psybeam, we survive on 5 HP and then drop it with Bite. Vaporeon is last, and once again the Gen 1 AI saves me as Vaporeon never attacks us, instead only spamming Mist and using Haze on 1 turn, which has the benefit of removing the paralysis from us. This is a Gen 1 effect only. We can just keep spamming Mega Drain as the Vaporeon never attacks us and we soon bring it down for the win. The reason why this happened is the AI is programmed to recognise type matchups, and because Haze and Mist are ice type moves, it believes they are going to be super effective on the flying type Zubat. It's a quirk, and well, it could make things interesting at the Elite Four. We've got to navigate our way through Victory Road first though, and I find myself wondering about what obstacles lie ahead. Lorelei could be reasonably rough. I mean, she'll have the capacity to hit us hard with super effective moves, and that might be bad, but I don't think she'll be the worst opponent here. Bruno I'm not too concerned about, we have flying and grass moves for his team. Agatha is likely going to be horrific, since for her ghosts we're only going to have wing attack that will do damage to them, unless I want to use Mimic and Learn Lick, which isn't near the top of what I'd consider a list of viable strategies. Lance could go either way, and well, we just saw what happened versus the rival, so I'd say that's going to be a coin flip either way. At the Indigo Plateau we are at level 80 and here are our stats. Our special isn't actually that bad, all things considered, well, at least in relation to our other stats. Just to put this into perspective, a Gengar has a 130 special stat in this game and an Alakazam has 135, and we're below that, so everything is relative. I wouldn't even say our speed is that fantastic, all things considered. Oh well, take your guesses on if we can do it at this level or not right now folks. Let's get this on! Okay then, so Lorelei. This goes insanely badly to the point that at level 80 there is a chance we may make it through some of her team. The ice moves are pretty brutal though for sure. Dugong has Aurora Beam, Cloyster has Ice Beam and it crits us on a few runs as well, which is problematic. Slowbro has Psychic. It doesn't always use it, but when it does, it is an issue. Jinx has Ice Punch, which also hurts, and Lapras has Gen 1 Blizzard. Now Gen 1 Blizzard is better than every other generation's Blizzard because in Gen 1, the move has 90% accuracy rather than 70, so it's hitting quite frequently. Freezing is a real risk, and being frozen is also a death sentence in Gen 1 because you never thaw out. So there's plenty of times where I have to make a few efforts, then retreat back to Victory Road to get back on the grinding trail. Eventually though, I swagger in for an attempt where we are at level 90 and we face off with Dugong at the start. We hit Bite and she goes for Rest straight away, which is pretty useful because it means we're not going to get hit back. While she's asleep, we can land 3 bites on the Dugong to bring it down, despite her trying to save it with a super potion. Cloyster is a 2-hit with Mega Drain, but we lose a good chunk of our health to Ice Beam, which isn't entirely ideal. Slowbro takes big damage from Mega Drain, but then begins to spam Amnesia. Spamnesia, if you will. We switch to Bite and it never attacks, which is handy, but again, Lorelei drops a super potion that means it survives a turn longer. Jinx gets put on red health with Bite, but Lorelei drops a super potion, which I'll take because we're not getting hit, and we take it out on the next turn. At the end, Lapras is hit with a Bite and then lands 2 Blizzards on us, but I switch to spamming Mega Drain, and they do enough damage that 2 of them are enough to bring it down for the count, and we can take the win. Bruno then, and I'm pretty confident that this isn't going to be anything approaching an issue, and so I set about to fight him. He begins with Onix, and we one-shot it with Mega Drain for a knockout. Hitmonchan is a 2-hit with Wing Attack, barely missing out on being one-shot, and we get tagged with Fire Punch in exchange for minimal damage. Hitmonlee goes down to a single Wing Attack, and then we fight Onix number 2 and take it down with Mega Drain. Machamp is last, and 2 Wing Attacks bring it down for the count. It misses Submission in retaliation, and thus we make it out. 2 down. Versus Agatha, I'm expecting trouble, but it actually plays out way better than I thought it would. Like I said, I was expecting her to be way harder than she was. She begins with Gengar, and we hit a Wing Attack for decent damage before it goes for Substitute. We break it with another Wing Attack, and then we get hit with a crit Mega Drain that does less than 10 points of damage. Wow! Almost like we quad resist grass or something. And then we end it with another Wing Attack. We hit Golbat with Bite, and then get hit with Supersonic. We hit ourselves in Confusion, and then she switches into Haunter. We fight through Confusion and land a Wing Attack before Agatha drops a Super Potion. We hit ourselves again before finally landing another Wing Attack to bring down Haunter. We take Golbat out with Bite and Wing Attack, getting hit with Leech Life in retaliation. We flinch Arbok with Bite and then drop it with a second Bite in quick succession. Versus the second Gengar, we crit a Wing Attack and then get hit with Hypnosis. Thankfully, we wake up immediately. Agatha goes for a Super Potion and another Wing Attack brings it down. That could have gone very badly wrong at the end, but we made it out. Lance then, and this does immediately go badly. So I figured he'd be easier than Agatha, but a few things. We don't have a great way to hurt Gyarados, and it's more than capable of messing us up with either Hydro Pump or Hyper Beam. There are a few attempts where I take a lot of damage from this beast, and even when we make it through, the first Dragonair has Thunder Wave, and barring a crit, we're not one-hitting it, and even that might not be a guarantee. Plus, it also has Thunderbolt, which does decent damage. The second Dragonair has Ice Beam, which also does decent damage, and then, even if we make it through that, Aerodactyl is just about a bridge too far. Eventually, I raise my level up to max, but even that isn't enough, so I make the drastic choice of rearranging the moveset. I replace Bite with Double Edge since it is that much more powerful, but there is an element of danger to it, but I simply need to be able to hit harder, and eventually I get a run that plays out like this. We hit Gyarados with Double Edge and then get struck with Hyper Beam, but I take the chance to then land a Mega Drain, which it crits and takes it out, giving us some health back, which is handy. We strike the first Dragonair with Double Edge and one-hit it. Versus the second Dragonair, I use Mimic to learn Ice Beam from it, and although we do get hit with Ice Beam, we shrug it off and use its own move against it. We use Ice Beam on Aerodactyl and bring it down in one hit. Dragonite has both Blizzard and Thunder, which would be problematic, but we strike Ice Beam to bring it down in a single hit, and we can move on. I don't always like changing my moveset unless it's either a massively better upgrade or there's literally no other option. Anyway, the rival fight then. This possibly can't be as bad as either Lance or Lorelei turned out to be. I'm reasonably confident actually. I have a strategy. I have used this strategy before, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Versus Sandslash, we use Mimic to learn Earthquake from it, which will be handy for the rest of the fight. We do get crit twice with Slash, which pretty annoying, but 2 Mega Drains can take it down. I don't even think Sandslash is that fast, if I'm honest, which is strange for the crit ratio. Alakazam goes down to Double Edge before Executor is next, and we strike that with a single Wing Attack, which crits to take it out. Pretty nice, I'll say that for sure. Ninetales is 4th, and this is part of the reason we have Earthquake. We smack it with the move to bring it down. Magneton is 5th, and that's the other reason we mimicked Earthquake on, and we bring it down in one hit. Vaporeon is last, and we start spamming Mega Drains. They don't do massive damage, but the health recovery is nice, and again, the fact that it goes repeatedly for Mist is pretty useful for sure. Rod does go for a full restore and only hits Aurora Beam once, but it's right at the very end when we're only one hit away from bringing it down. I have no idea what his strategy was at the end of that fight, but again, I'm not complaining. With that, we've won the run and we can walk on into the Hall of Fame, and draw a line under the run. Challenge complete. Well, that was interesting. I mean, I figured it would be hard, but yeah, I was right. Zubat is amazingly bad in this generation, but we made it through, so yay on our part. Like I said, the 6th worst Pokemon in Gen 1 base stat total wise, so I think this was an achievement. Thanks so much for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, call out with a comment and smash that subscribe button. Join me again next time for what should surely be an easier challenge as I head to Pokemon Emerald and see if I can beat it with just a single Tropius. I'm sure that'll be entertaining. I'm going to jump off myself here, folks. I'm going to say goodbye and I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye bye. Ta-ta.